If there's one thing the world loves, it's a good fight over a scrap of dirt. Take a forgotten house on the edge of town, a place left to gather dust and rumors for a dozen years, and suddenly everyone's got an opinion about who owns what. My uncle's house wasn't much to look at, but after the will was read, it was mine, every rotting plank and stubborn lock. Funny, isn't it? Some inherit fortunes. I inherited a war. The night I showed up, the sky hung so black it felt like the stars had packed up and left out of boredom. Gravel crackled under my tires. There was this sense, just for a second, that the house was holding its breath. No lights, just shadows and the echo of my own boots on the porch. The key turned in the lock, a tiny sound lost in a whole decade's worth of silence. Nothing inside but the weight of old wood and older stories. Didn't even unpack. I dropped my duffel by the door, popped open a water bottle, and stretched out on the couch, boots, jacket, dust, and all. Some part of me, even half asleep, knew peace was always borrowed in places like this. Didn't last long anyway. At 5:34 a.m., the front door nearly jumped off its hinges. Not a polite knock, not some neighbor with banana bread. No, this was the sound of a power trip dressed up like authority. 3 figures on the porch, 2 guys in tactical knockoff uniforms, and a woman in a crisp navy suit, the kind of smile that could cut glass, pearls at her neck, tablet clutched like a gavel. "I live here," I said, before she could start reciting laws she'd printed off Wikipedia. This was my uncle's. It's mine now, all above board. She acted like I confessed to breeding dinosaurs in the basement. According to her, this house, this very one that sat stubborn and alone, was now under the authority of something called Cypress Hollow HOA. "There are procedures, board approvals, compliance reviews," she snapped, tossing out phrases like confetti at a parade. I stood my ground. My uncle refused every HOA offer in the book. There were letters, all stamped and threatening, and he'd kept them as proof that some people will die on their hill before they pay a penny to the neighborhood busybodies. But the woman, Karen, naturally wouldn't budge. In her mind, as of 2019, my driveway was their kingdom. I was trespassing on my own land. And just like that, the war started. After they left, smug as cats with stolen cream, I found their notice taped to my door. No county stamp, no legal anything, just the HOA's letterhead and a bunch of bold threats. By breakfast, I was on the phone to Sheriff Mendez, who nearly choked laughing when I told him, "Chris, your uncle's place isn't in Cypress Hollow and never has been. You got the deed, you're good. But these folks, they don't like taking no for an answer." He'd seen this before, petty kingdoms with big egos and no understanding of the law. Still, I did my homework, down to the county office, digging up court rulings and plat maps. Sure enough, a judge had already told the HOA to back off years ago. My property stood alone, an island in a sea of suburban nonsense. Didn't take long for the HOA to escalate. By noon, they chained off my drive and slapped a sign on the gate, "Private road, HOA access only." Their idea of law was a padlock and a threat. I called the sheriff's office again. A deputy came, clipped the chain, filed a report for unauthorized obstruction, and left a warning taped to their shiny new post. But I wasn't satisfied. Something about the way they lied to themselves, the way they acted like their paperwork could change reality, made my skin crawl. So I went down to the community office, a trailer dressed up as City Hall, folder of real documents in hand. The receptionist stared at me like I was a ghost. Karen came out, mug in hand, the words "keeping standards high" gleaming on the side. "This is my deed. Here's the court ruling. County map. Your sign? Illegal." I laid it all out. Karen just smiled, eyes hard as marbles. "The board voted. We included your parcel." She said it like that, like magic words. "Internal decisions don't need outside approval," she claimed. I had to bite my tongue to keep from laughing. You can't just hold a meeting and claim someone else's land because you felt like it. That night, I installed security cameras. 4 angles, all solar, all watching. And wouldn't you know, at almost 3 in the morning, the cameras caught 3 figures. Hoods up, faces hidden, taping yet another final warning to my door and sprinting off like kids on Halloween. More codes, More threats. Still nothing from the law. I started comparing documents, looking for cracks. The county plat, official, stamped clean, showed my property untouched by their grubby fingers. But the HOA map, the one with the bold red line? Fake. The stamp font was off, signatures copied and pasted, even some names belonging to dead men. I called the county surveyor, Alvarez, and we walked the line together, boots crunching over frosty grass. The new HOA gate was planted half a meter over my property line. Alvarez just shook her head, muttering, "Some people really believe paperwork is a magic trick." Things turned ugly. The next morning, the water went out, cut clean at the main by the HOA, pink flag and all. Unauthorized tap, service terminated. Not long after, the post office confirmed my mail had been redirected to a P.O. box at Cypress Hollow's clubhouse. Signature forged by someone with shaky hands and a wild imagination. Every time I fixed a problem, another popped up: lighting violations, unapproved facade color, excessive vegetation. Most of it made up on the spot. By now, I was keeping records, taking photos, logging every incident. When I caught a guy measuring my porch, he tried to call it a routine inspection. I warned him, step across the line again, and the sheriff would show him what trespassing really meant. Enter Caroline Brandt, my lawyer, sharp as a tack, calm as a lake in winter. She took one look at my folder and grinned. We sue. Civil harassment, interference, fraud, even criminal charges for mail tampering and utility sabotage. She'd seen this pattern before. Nepotism, self-dealing, and a paper trail a mile wide. Turns out, Karen's husband ran the contracting firm. Her brother-in-law reviewed architecture and the so-called security company. Her nephew. When the HOA sent 2 fake officers to deliver an eviction notice, Caroline and Sheriff Ortega were ready. The badges were plastic, the SUV unregistered. Both men left in handcuffs. Karen tried again, hiring contractors to install a new, bigger gate. Caroline filed for a restraining order. Fast. Then, another round. Water shut off, new locks, more fraudulent mail. Every time, the law caught up just a step behind. But the twist, the twist, was the forensics team's discovery. Emails from Karen. If we move fast on Hartman Place, no one will question us. No one lives there. Yet, there were fake votes, dead signatures, and doctor maps. It wasn't just me. Karen was planning a takeover of any property the HOA could get away with. It was a circus. Karen came in smug, left in handcuffs. 14 years for fraud, impersonation, forgery, and attempted eviction. Her cronies, sentences, and fines. The judge dissolved Cypress Hollow HOA. The gates, the signs, the security patrols, all ripped out by order of the court. The county restored every right, every inch. They handed me a check, $780,000, paying damages, legal fees. I spent it fixing the house, planting a new oak, and hanging a wooden sign at the drive. Private property, not under HOA jurisdiction. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Underneath, a wink for the brave. We recommend you knock first. And sometimes, when the days faded and the shadows stretch across the lawn, I sit on the porch, coffee in hand, and watch cars hesitate where Cypress Hollow used to be. Some stop, some drive on. Sometimes I wonder what stories they tell themselves about that sign and the man who refused to move. Funny thing is, I learned more than I bargained for. Power, real power, rots in the dark. Leave it unchecked, and it starts thinking it owns everything it touches. But law, if you chase it long enough, if you refuse to back down, always wins. Not fast, not easy, but true. And sometimes, justice really does show up at the end of a gravel road. But here's the question I can't shake. When does community become a cover for theft? Where's the line between keeping order and taking what's not yours? What would you do if someone tried to erase your life with a forged signature and a padlock? Drop a comment. Let's hear your thoughts. Ever had to stand up for what's yours? Ever watch power twist the rules? Share your story, or just tell me where you draw the line. Maybe, together, we can keep the boundaries honest, one fight at a time.